being honest, I didn't really want to record this video just so I don't really remember the idea of porn. But for the sake of helping, I'm going to record it for you. This video is going to tell you how I overcame NoFap. And it's way different than the other videos, those clickbaity NoFap benefit timeline or whatever. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this like straight to the point. In 2022, one time I was in the shower and I got hard and I tried out jerking off, and I reached to the point where I spread it all out, and I got that satisfaction for the first time, and I got really addicted to it. It went from one time every week to 2 times and 3 times, then every day, then 2 times a day. I mean, at that time I was watching porn instead of like some normal YouTube shorts when I get bored. I was in a very fucked up level of this addiction, and I finally, like at the beginning of 2024, I finally overcame it. I no longer think about that a lot. Like the thought of porn just existing doesn't really pop in my mind anymore. How I overcame it, basically, it might not sound as cool as the other YouTube channels with their clickbaity videos. I overcame it by just forgetting about that NoFap and porn even exists. Because I finally got the idea when you think about NoFap. NoFap has NoFap has something in common with porn. So you think about porn as well. And as soon as you start to think about it and start to see some pictures in your mind and starting doing some imaginations, some scenarios, being afraid to relapse, you will end up relapsing. And that's why I don't really like talking about that. And even though a week ago I finally started listening to my friend that he has a problem with his porn addiction, and I really wanted to help him, and I actually gave him some advices, and I gave him a full list of what to really do. I didn't really like talking about it. I didn't even had the full will to help him, because this addiction, the problem with it is, as soon as you see a blurred picture, or as soon as you talk about it or hear it, there is a big chance to get back to it afterwards. So basically, the solution to this addiction is basically not thinking about anything that has something about porn. If you join those NoFap Reddit pages, I really recommend you to leave them. Those apps that really count the days where you didn't fap deleted. I also recommend you to get away from social media. This is the only problem that made us get into that addiction. which is the internet. And like don't cope and start to lying to yourself, oh, but I use internet to, for business or whatever. Sure, you can do you can do business in the internet, but do it just for business. Like for example, when you upload the video, don't like go and scroll around YouTube while you're uploading that video. Your action is upload the video and just leave that website. You also like start, you might ask that you can't sleep sometimes without it, or like you can't focus without it. That is complete bullshit. How would you not be able to like do that thing without fapping while the people before you were doing that thing like normally, like, without even having sex, like for like people who are around your age if you're a teenager? Not all of them like had the ability of sex, right? But like they just do the thing without, you know, jerking off. It's because you started convincing yourself that it is a part of your life, that you can't really um go forward without it. And that's because you're just so obsessed of the idea that porn just exists, or maybe like NoFap. You've been like setting this goal a lot in your mind. It's simple, but people just make it seem hard just to get a bit of views. You've meditated, you've been journaling, you've increased your mindfulness, you've decreased your screen time, you've got away from like those social media apps that make you horny. But why did you do that at the first place? I'm not telling you to keep those apps. I'm not telling you to not meditate. But just having the idea that you deleted those applications and you've meditated, you did that because you want to be successful at NoFap, right? And that will just keep in mind that you did all that for the sake of quitting porn. And you'll get back to it 100%. Like, don't really cope about it. I know you're gonna relapse. No matter what you do, no matter how many porn blockers you put, you're going to relapse. Because you've set that goal. You've made it your whole personality. Don't lie to yourself. You've made it your whole personality. You wouldn't delete those apps if porn didn't really like exist. If porn wasn't really your addiction. You wouldn't put those porn blockers if you didn't really start NoFap, right? You've put all that, you've put that, meditation routine and journaling and all that because you do it for porn. So instead of that, why don't you make it for the sake of health? For just like being healthier, for improving. Why, like, let's say instead of meditating to increase mindfulness so you won't get back on porn, you meditate to increase mindfulness to be more present with your friends, with your like feminine woman in the future. And you do that gratitude journaling to increase your overall happiness, to make your life more simple and get away from material success. You get away from social media not because that you want to get away from porn. You quit social media because you know that these social media are made to fry up your dopamine receptors. Don't what don't like waste your time for that small little addiction, because there are a lot of other things that are way more important. You have business, you have fitness, you have relationships. Why don't you focus on these more? Because if you compare these three things, like they're big to you. They're really big to you. Don't bullshit. They're really big to you. Earning money so you can provide, like fitness for being more healthy, relationships to increase overall happiness. These three are way more important than this little addiction. If you'll focus on these three, trust me, this will vanish. This will no longer is going to this will no longer be an important thing to you because you'll no longer think about it. You're more focused in fitness, you're more focused in health, you're more focused with relationships. This is a very common problem, to be honest. I really wanted to get deep into it because nobody really talked about it in the internet. It's a very big problem that most of the people, like most of the men out there, get afraid of it, and that's why they relapse again. You might ask that you sometimes don't get hard at all, like after you pass a couple of weeks without fapping. Like your dick doesn't get hard at all. Unless like if you watch a bit of porn and like touch yourself, right? Like you might see like a nice feminine woman who was 10 out of 10 on the streets, and you don't really get attracted at all. That's way normal. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's way normal, and you don't have to relapse just to see like if everything is all right. It's basically like I cannot explain it scientifically, so I'm gonna explain it the way that I understand it. It's basically like your body's going started to realize that you've been jerking off less lately, so it's gonna like give you a big recharge. That's like a slow recharge that might take a couple of weeks. Like it might take at least a month to get back to your normal, um, normal hardness. It will take weeks or so. Like don't really be afraid of it. Don't really think about it a lot. You might just think that like your dick has been like dead for a couple of weeks, and then everything will just go back. Your testosterone like didn't go low or anything. That's just your body reacting to the situation that you didn't really fab uh, a lot lately. So it just won't really like it will just react to it by just like finally a rest. Like your dick just will lie down and will say, finally, this motherfucker won't be jerking off for 3 days today. Now you might really get pissed off that, the idea of just quitting porn takes a lot of time. I'm gonna tell you it does. I've been struggling for 2 years now trying to quit this addiction. And, you know, for me, it was way harder because there was no one to really give me the advice. But for you, it might be way easier right now because there are a lot of good YouTubers who give actual advice that can really help. But even though it will still take you at least half a year to actually like to get into the level where you don't really think about it, it will take you time. You've been growing this addiction for a lot of like years. I don't know, like depends on you, and it will take a lot of time to quit that. You will have a lot of struggles. You will get into a lot of relapses. Basically, the idea of overcoming NoFap is, and I said it, overcoming NoFap. We're not overcoming porn addiction. We're overcoming NoFap because in my opinion, NoFap is way worse than porn. Because if someone who's addicted to porn, but like he doesn't really care about like the symptoms and the bad stuff about it, like he just jerks off for fun. He doesn't really like think about, oh, I am afraid to relapse today or whatever. He can relapse at any time, right? But for someone who finally like got to know what NoFap is, and you know, starting to know that porn is bad, and you know, and he doesn't really need to jerk off because that decreases his confidence and everything. He's starting like to being addicted to the like to porn, but also afraid of that addiction. So the impact on his brain is multiplied. So that's why just don't make it your personality. Don't make it your number one goal. There are a lot of other important things you have to do in life and you have to focus on. And trust me, as soon as you focus on these more important stuff, you'll forget porn. And not only like porn, just any addiction in general. As soon as you focus on other stuff in your life that are way more important, your health, your intelligence, your knowledge, your relationship, your life, your business. As soon as you focus on those, porn won't be really a big thing to you. You'll start to like get this in your guts that I am way bigger than porn. I'm way too big to deal with that situation. I don't have time for that. And trust me, if you put your attention to this video and like start to focus on other stuff in your life instead of porn, trust me, you will forget about the idea of porn just existing. It's like money. Like, for the person who really thinks about money and thinks about earning money, he doesn't really get successful, right? Because like he goes from business to business and like doesn't really get much or doesn't get anything at all. But for a person who really like does the job, but he just doesn't really care about how much money does will he get. He just likes the job because he just does it well, and like he's skillful at it, and he like has like he gets some fun doing it. Like he takes it as a funny thing to do instead of like a job. But he gets millions, even though like he doesn't really care about these numbers in his account. And that's how NoFap works. If you just don't give your attention to it, you'll be successful at it. I really hope that this video helped you, and I'll see you soon.